What's going on? So today we're gonna be comparing the Air Jordan 4 white cement OG 2025 retro replica versus retail. Now, if you cannot tell, the replica pair is on the right. The replica pair is on the right. So let's get into it. To be honest, I'm not quite sure. We'll start with this shoe. I'm not quite sure these are the best on the market. Y'all let me know. There's definitely some notable flaws here, but I feel like there's better pairs out there. So let's start over here with some of the obvious differences. Ignore this little fucking dark color. There was some, my rep pair had a little stain on the laces. I was trying to clean it and honestly it looks worse now. But overall, there's some notable differences. Right here, the netting is actually pretty close, I'm not gonna lie. You can see the movement is pretty close. The stitching is close. The shape is fine. I'm gonna hide the hang tags, but the hang tags you can see, I believe one of them is just, the replica one is a lot brighter. Retail pair is darker. So we're gonna hide these hang tags because it's not really important right now. I mean, pretty obvious. But the shape, they did a pretty good job. For those of you who don't know, the shape has been, on the retail pairs, has been a bit more like the original shape. That's why you can see the netting looks a lot different. And they were close with the rep pair, but I feel like they were just a little bit off. But easily enough, most of the flaws are in the speckle, and I'll show you guys what I mean. I thought they would have nailed that, but like I said, maybe my pair isn't the top-notch quality. I thought they would have nailed that aspect of it at least, but they didn't. Also, the stitching, as you can see right here, it's got a lot of holes in it. You see each of these little holes, boop, 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 right? Whereas on the retail, it's all one uniform stitching, right? Can see that difference already. Another thing that I'm now noticing is that, so the rep pair messed up and added some speckles on this top eyelet. I don't know if you guys can see it, but if you can't see it, just trust me, there's like some very, very light speckles. Very light speckles. There's absolutely no speckles on the retail pair whatsoever over here. And there's no speckles here, which is weird. They just kept them over here. Fuck, I really don't know if you guys can see that. We can see it a little bit, I think, right there. But yeah, it's weird because they kept it. There's no speckles here, but then they added a little bit right there. I think you can kind of see it. And honestly, the speckles is the main flaw of this shoe. Everything else is pretty solid. The cuts also maybe are a little bit thicker on the retail pair, but honestly they look pretty close. You can see right here this cut, maybe a little bit thinner on the rep. No big deal, but again, stitching is just a little bit more crisp on the retail pair. You can see right here, just a little bit more crisp. It sort of curves around. You can see that, connects, all this shit connects. It's like a rectangle, right? This is the retail, this is the rep. You can barely see it. It just looks like too squarey, if that makes sense. Look at that. So now we're just nitpicking, but let's get into the speckles that I was trying to tell you guys about. So the midsole speckle seems pretty fine. Also, the color might be a little bit off. It might be a little bit more, what is it, cool or warm. On the rep pair, you can definitely see that it's a bit lighter. There's a little side by side. You can definitely see it's a bit lighter. But the speckles on the midsole seem to be kind of fine. It's the speckles on these eyelets that are the problem. So as you can see, this is the replica pair, and as you can see, low-key, it's still missing speckles compared to the retail. The retail is like speckled the fuck out. Let's see if you guys can see that. But where it really starts to show the flaws is on the back. Look at that. I don't know if pairs vary, but this is a large notable difference. I'm trying to grab both of these shoes at the same time, but that is a large difference. Retail pair is on the left, replica is on the right. You can also start to see a little bit now the color difference in the grays. Also, it even seems like, at least on my pair, this doesn't even seem right. It just seems too big. Stitching seems pretty solid, a little bit sloppier compared to the retail. This is the rep, this is the retail. You can see it's just a lot more crisp, a little bit more sloppy on this end. But as you guys can see also, for one, the Nike Air on the back, you can see that there's speckles on both pairs, right? But one thing that I noticed on the retail pair, I don't know if you guys can see that, is the speckles on the Nike Air are low-key 3D. Like, they low-key have some texture to them. You might not be able to see that on camera. I think you can, honestly. I'm looking at it right now. So you can see that. Whereas the speckles on here, they're there, but they're flat. They don't have that sort of texture to them. You can really see it right here on this K. In between the K, you can definitely see it. Whereas over here, it's just sort of flat. Also, just looking up here at this heel tab, look at how many more speckles we have versus on the replica pair. Way less speckles. But the midsoles, they did a decent job. You can definitely see they did a pretty good job with the midsole speckle. But even then, looking again at the eyelet, bigger speckles, but there's less of them. On the retail pair, just a shit ton more. Look at that. It's almost not even close. That's the main difference. And honestly, I thought that was going to be no problem. So again, maybe I didn't get the best pair out there. I really don't think I did. I'm sure there's a better pair out there. Also, something that I like to look for, that I've mentioned in a couple of my other videos, is this side stitching right here, this little rectangle. You can see it on the retail pair. You can clearly see the connection stitch right here that goes down. On the rep pair, it doesn't look the same, and you can hardly see that connection stitch, and it also looks smaller. You can barely see it. This is a very obvious fucking rectangle right there. You guys can see the difference. Here's the retail, here's the rep. People used to say this was an indicator for replicas back then, but as you can see, that's not accurate, because the retail pair has the same thing. Even right here, retail pair has the same thing. So yeah, overall, man, this is slightly close. The tongue looks pretty much identical. They both sort of have this red hue to it, as you guys can see. They both look fine. Flight, all that stuff is fine. Maybe the stitching is a little bit worse on the rep pair, and it's a little bit less crisp. You can kind of see that. Here's the retail, here's the rep, just a little bit sloppier. Just for the fun of it, we'll switch shoes just to see if I notice anything on the other sneaker that I may have missed. But honestly, like I said, I think the flaws are consistent. You guys can see that already. This is the retail, this is the replica. You can also see the color difference a little bit, right? This one looks a lot darker, a bit more bluish, and the retail pair is definitely a bit warmer. It definitely is not as dark gray. Right here, this looks pretty identical though, I'm not gonna lie. They did a great job on that midsole. The midsole looks fine to me. Air bubble unit obviously is gonna be identical. But yeah, there's definitely some sloppy details on this pair that I got. You can kind of see the paint coming up on the air unit a little bit. Nike doesn't do that. I think, let me see. I think I noticed that more on another pair. But yeah, man, those flaws are definitely consistent. You can see again, here's the speckles on the top right here, which you might not be able to see, but there they are. You can see the speckles right there. Absolutely not one speckle on this retail pair. So obviously lining, all that stuff, all the basic stuff is going to be identical, to be honest. The cushioning, like I've been saying for quite a while in my videos, there's more cushioning on this replica pair, especially on the side. I don't know if you guys can see the difference. I might have to hurry up. I think it's starting to rain, and I definitely don't want rain on these. So y'all let me know if there's a better pair out there. Y'all let me know if you liked your pair, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.